Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this one, we're going to be talking about the best pure poison build. As far as poison builds go, if you're looking just for that tick, this is the best possible build that I can come up with, simply for the fact that it does a ridiculous amount of damage from poison itself. I'm going to explain why. Let's get into the details. First of all, we're using Venomous Fang, which is a claw weapon which does deadly poison. The only other weapon in the game that I know of that does deadly poison that's really notable is the Serpent Bone Blade, but unfortunately for the Serpent Bone Blade, it is locked into double slash and you're stuck with that Ash of War. You cannot put an Ash of War on it. However, this one has deadly poison for the Venomous Fang, but we can put an Ash of War on this awesome claw weapon. Why is this beneficial to us? This is beneficial to us because we can put an Ash of War on it and we can choose Poison Affinity. And what happens when we choose Poison Affinity? Well, something very interesting happens with the Venomous Fang when you use Poison Affinity. Before that, I just wanted to say real quick, if you're not on the Discord, definitely be sure to join that. And be sure to sub if you love constant Elden Ring content. And also, this weapon itself, by the way, the Venomous Fang you get in the abandoned cave. I actually forgot to grab that clip, but it's in the same place that you get the golden scarab. It's not too hard to find, and you can get it very early in the game. Now let's get into those details. So how I came about this was I was doing a build for the Serpent Bone Blade, mixing it up, trying to do a mix between that and the Rivers of Blood, but I was just kind of getting bored with the damage I was getting, so I figured I'd look up the other chances for poison, basically the other stuff that can give me a fair amount of poison on them, and see what I can mix in. I found the Venomous Fang and realized something. If you're putting an Ash of War on it, or you're using the Poison Affinity itself, you will get the deadly poison part of it for 90 seconds with that Poison Affinity. So essentially, you will double or more your damage by using the Poison Affinity and having 90 seconds worth of deadly poison, making it, in my opinion, the best pure poison build if you're going for poison itself, and the claws themselves don't have bad damage either. I even went further and checked the wikis to double check this because I noticed it had a long but substantially damaging tick as far as the damage goes, and their health ticked down fast at the rate of deadly poison for around 90 seconds. That for me made it really powerful, and then being able to boost it with the Mushroom Crown and Kindred of Rot's Exultation for an extra 30% damage, and having good damage on the claws themselves, because honestly they're not a bad weapon in general, makes for a very powerful pure poison build. And as far as claw weapons goes, they all received a damage boost in the last patch on 1.09, so that's beneficial for us too. They're all doing more damage now. Claws are some of the better weapons in the game. They went from being pretty mid-tier to being absolutely fantastic now as far as damage goes. The majority of claws are really good after patch 1.09. Which you can even see on screen here as we fight these dragons and take them on, and you're going to see on the second one as I'm testing around with the amount of poison that it does, you'll see the damage that it's doing is the deadly poison amount if you do the math, which is basically double, but it does this for 90 seconds. I checked it on several different enemies, which is a very, very long time to proc deadly poison. I know if you grab Spear Rapiers, there's a whole bunch of different situations where you can make better use of a poison type build simply for the fact that you can get rot or bleed or whatever else with it. But if you're going for pure poison, if you're somebody who's looking for a poison build, look no further than the Venomous Fang, because it can literally chew through boss HP very quickly while also doing substantial amounts of damage, because again, the claws have been boosted. In patch 1.09, gave a substantial increase in damage, at least as far as the base damage goes, and you're going to see the poison on screen is substantial as far as the tick, the amount that comes down as far as the boss HP or enemy HP. These are the respawning dragons in Caleb. They're really good to test stuff on, but as you can see, he died here after taking the deadly poison amount, and it will go for 90 seconds. Now it's time to show off just the pure base damage without worrying about the poison, just basically the boost in claws here by putting this Godskin Apostle to sleep, and you're going to see here on screen how much damage he takes. He went down very quickly with the damage boost for claws, and then the 30% damage increase we're getting from proccing poison. Like I said, it does do substantial damage. In this one, we're going to go for more of the tick amount and see how much damage we can do on him while hanging back. This can be a tough foe. All the bell-bearing hunters are a little bit tough to fight up close because they can hit you really hard, and they do have the Marius Executioner sword after all. As you can see me getting beat up a little bit here. They also have more range than what usually appears on screen. It's simply for the fact that obviously telekinetically they can throw their swords around any which way they like, which makes it a little bit of a frustrating battle. Anyways, as we're backing up here, you can see the poison ticking his health down at a reasonable rate. That's something for me where I look at this and I'm like, well, that's a pretty good amount of damage. The base damage, the boost in claws, and then that fast tick as far as the poison goes, getting the deadly poison for an extended amount makes for a very solid poison build. You're going to have fun with these claws too, simply for the fact that, again, the damage itself, the base damage, and then what you're proccing and the boost you get and all that, it's definitely worth using these, and I really do like that, the 1.09 boost for claws. Claws have become one of the better weapons in the game since that boost. Now on to mobs and then build, stats, equipment, everything that you'll need to know. As far as regular mobs go, I'm not going to worry too much about the actual poison part, but I'm going to show off the damage on the claws themselves, which you've already seen, but as far as mobs go, specifically individual enemies, you're not going to have too much trouble with the Venomous Fang. By the way, the stats I have since I went for more poison build-up, I went for Dex and Arcane. I'm going to show my stats in a little bit here. It's kind of important too because you can actually go and make any regular claw or claw bleed build, or even use something like the Rivers of Blood in between as well with these exact stats. So it gives you a lot of versatility in that aspect too. And again, if you're looking for a pure poison build with nothing else but the poison and base damage itself, I really do like these. These are very, very good. The damage boost, the claws themselves, solid all around, very good damage. Let's get into equipment, stats, and everything you need to know. For equipment, we have the Venomous Fang, preferably plus 25 with Poison Affinity. Any seal will do. We have the Mushroom Crown and a random set on. Ritual Swords Talisman. Millicent's Prosthesis. We have the Kindred of Rot's Exultation. Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. Then you can throw in the Thorny tier, and then something like the Faith tier, so that we can throw in some buffs as well. Now, upcoming for stats here, this is very much a dex weapon. It does scale more towards dex than it does strength. It's a little bit quality, but more towards dexterity. So we went for dexterity and arcane, and again, that leaves you open to being able to use stuff like the Rivers of Blood and a couple of dex bleed weapons, which gives you a lot of versatility in this build as well. As always, make sure you have enough vigor, endurance, and everything else is really up to you as far as stats go, but the main thing here is to concentrate on dexterity and arcane to make the most out of the poison amount that you're going to get for the deadly poison. It's going to be able to proc faster, and then obviously your damage and dexterity as well. Let's get into buffs for this build. So for buffs, first thing we're going to do is we're going to drink our tear here, and then we are able to cast Golden Vow after that, because that'll get us to 25 faith. And then we're going to use Flame Grant Me Strength for the physical damage bonus on the claws. And then we're going to fill up our FP. And then you can use whatever Ash of War you want. We can hit real fast, do a lot of damage, and get substantial amounts of poison with this weapon. Again, the boost in damage on 1.09 specifically made this build even more viable now than ever, given the fact that the claws have higher base damage and then you get that deadly poison for a longer duration as well. It's definitely worth doing. This is something that can do a lot of damage to the majority of bosses in Elden Ring. If you're not on the Discord, definitely be sure to join it. There's over 400 people on there now. You're not going to want to miss out. It's very, very active. And if you're not subbed and you love overpowered PvE builds, be sure to check out all the awesome builds that are on my channel. Thanks for watching. As always, I will catch you guys there.